What if you could just completely redesign a massive national industry right from the ground up? Well, today we're looking at a radical new blueprint for the future of British farming, and it proposes nothing short of a total tech takeover to solve a crisis that's been brewing for decades. Okay, so to really get why such a huge change is even on the table, you have to start with this number: 40%. That is how much of the food eaten in the UK is currently imported. It's a massive figure, and it points to a really serious challenge for national food security. But the problem isn't just about what's coming into the country. It's about the people who are actually growing the food here. And this number, it's just staggering. It means that for every pound you spend on something at the supermarket, the farmer who grew it gets, on average, just 0.03% of that. It's a system that is fundamentally broken for the producers. So you see, these numbers, they're really just symptoms of a much, much deeper problem. The whole system is described as being at a breaking point. Basically, it was designed for a post-war world, and it's totally unequipped for the challenges we face today. I mean, just look at this chart. It lays the labor crisis out in stark black and white. The industry is almost completely dependent on foreign workers. British citizens, they make up just 1% of that seasonal workforce. The plan calls this situation both economically unsustainable and strategically really vulnerable. And it's not just about labor, right? This quote here gets to the economic heart of the problem. The policy calls it a supermarket stranglehold. All the power is concentrated in the hands of just a few giant retailers, and that lets them squeeze farmer profits down to practically nothing. Which, of course, leads to the big question. If the current model is failing on labor, on economics, and on security, what on earth is the fix? Well, the proposed solution isn't some minor tweak. It's a complete and total overhaul. The answer, in just 4 words, is a total tech takeover. The idea here isn't to patch up the old, broken system. It's to completely replace its core parts with cutting-edge technology, with robotics, and with artificial intelligence. All right, so let's start with the most visible, the most futuristic part of this whole plan: the automation revolution. This is all about fundamentally changing who, or maybe I should say what, is actually doing the work out on the farm. So the new farmhands, they're not gonna be people. They'll be AI-powered robots that can pick fruit 24/7. There'll be autonomous tractors guided by GPS, automated systems checking on livestock health, and drones analyzing every inch of the crops from the sky. It's a direct, high-tech answer to the labor crisis, which, of course, opens up a whole new set of questions about the future of rural employment itself. And this comparison really hammers home just how massive this change is. We're talking about a leap from a system built on manual labor and gut instinct to one driven by robots working around the clock and AI predicting outcomes. Instead of just spraying an entire field, you'll have drones applying treatments with pinpoint accuracy. It really is a complete paradigm shift. But this revolution isn't just happening out in the fields. The plan basically argues that for all this automation to actually work, you first have to completely rewire the economic and energy backbone that the farms rely on. So how do you fix that shocking 0.03% profit margin we saw earlier? The proposed answer is blockchain. Now, that might sound complicated, but just think of it as an unbreakable public digital receipt. It tracks every single step a product takes, all the way from the farm to the supermarket shelf. No arguments, no funny business. And here's the crucial part: how it works in the real world. A farmer's harvest gets scanned and logged. Simple. When it arrives at the store, a smart contract automatically confirms it, and then, bam, payment is transferred to the farmer instantly. This completely cuts out the middlemen, the delays, and the disputes. It's all about guaranteeing farmers get paid fairly and, just as importantly, on time. Of course, to power all this new tech, the plan thinks really, really big. First, it proposes using small modular nuclear reactors. Think of them as compact local power plants to provide cheap, reliable 24/7 electricity to farming areas. It also wants to put solar and wind on farms to create extra income. And to help farmers actually afford all this new gear, it calls for government-backed loans. And get this, it even suggests giving farmers intellectual property rights for new ideas they come up with, turning them from producers into innovators. Now, this all sounds incredibly ambitious, right? Which brings us to the bottom line. What does it all cost? So let's take a look at the proposed investment and what the plan says the return will be. The total price tag for this massive national overhaul is estimated at £17 billion. That's a mix of public and private money spread out over 6 years. It's a huge number, no doubt about it, and it reflects the sheer scale of this transformation. But here is the payoff. The plan projects that by year 6, the annual return on that investment will be £18 billion. Now, that's not the total return. That's the return every single year. It's an unbelievably ambitious goal, basically aiming to make the entire investment back annually through more productivity, more exports, and fewer imports. And this isn't supposed to happen overnight. The proposal lays out a really clear 3-phase roadmap. The first 2 years are all about building the foundation, getting the laws right, getting the core AI systems in place. Then, years 3 and 4 are for the massive rollout of all the robots and automation. And the final 2 years? That's about making Britain a world leader in ag tech and exports. And what's interesting is the plan doesn't just talk in vague goals. It sets very specific, concrete targets. This isn't just theory. We're talking hard numbers. Tripling farm profitability, slashing food imports from 40% down to 25%, a mind-blowing 400% boost in labor productivity, and all while aiming to cut rural unemployment in half. This is the scorecard the whole project would be judged against. So that brings us to the final crucial question, doesn't it? This blueprint is incredibly detailed. It promises to solve some really deep, long-standing problems with some bold, futuristic solutions. But is it a realistic vision for the future of farming? Or is it a multi-billion-pound fantasy? The answer is going to shape not just where Britain's food comes from, but the very fabric of its countryside.